Deion Sanders had been quiet for a while, not posting much and keeping his head down. His focus was locked in on football, and when he locks in, the noise of social media fades into the background. That's why when he finally spoke up, it grabbed attention. He revealed he had been waived by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. For many players, that kind of news could shatter confidence. But Shiloh's response came from a place of faith. He was quick to say he believes in God, that he trusts there's always a plan for him, and that no matter the setbacks, he has always come out stronger. The story took a dramatic turn when Adam Schefter's verified report hit the internet. The San Francisco 49ers had Deion Sanders in for a workout. Just like that, his name was back in the NFL conversation, and fans were buzzing. The post went viral, sparking debates across social media. Some people argued Shiloh simply wasn't athletic enough to make an impact at the highest level, while others felt this was the fresh opportunity he had been waiting for. The question hanging in the air was simple but powerful. Would the 49ers take a chance on him? Or would this be another chapter of heartbreak? For Deion Sanders, Shiloh's father and one of the greatest athletes to ever step onto a football field, this moment carried more weight than most people realized. Deion had spoken openly about how tough it was when Shiloh was cut by the Buccaneers. He admitted the pain, but his pride in his son never wavered. He said Shiloh was mentally and physically where he needed to be, and all they could do was pray for another chance. Deion reminded people that his son was versatile, with talents in music and modeling that could carry him, even if football didn't. Still, as a father, he wanted this second chance for Shiloh. And now it looked like the prayers might be answered, but there's no escaping the past. And part of Shiloh's challenge is the shadow of the incident that got him released from Tampa Bay. It happened during a clash with Bills tight end Zach Davidson, a towering 6 feet 7 inches former 5th-round pick. Shiloh had been trying to make a block downfield when Davidson's fingers ended up inside his face mask. Tempers flared, frustration boiled over, and in that split second, Shiloh lashed out. Some people called it a slap, others a punch, but either way, he struck at Davidson's helmet. Unfortunately for Shiloh, the officials saw everything. He was flagged for unnecessary roughness and ejected from the game. For a young player on the bubble, one mistake like that can be devastating. To make matters worse, Shiloh had already been warned earlier in the game for another error. That prior warning magnified the severity of his ejection. What could have been brushed off as a heat-of-the-moment scuffle instead became the defining setback of his young career. In the eyes of the Buccaneers coaching staff, it wasn't just a penalty. It was a lack of discipline. And in the NFL, where opportunities are rare and precious, that single mistake may have been the reason he wasn't drafted or signed again immediately. Tampa Bay's head coach, Todd Bowles, didn't mince words when asked about the incident. He called Shiloh's punch inexcusable and reminded everyone that the NFL has a zero-tolerance policy for throwing hands on the field. "You can't throw punches in this league," Bowles said firmly. "They're going to get you every time. You've got to grow from that." It was both a critique and a lesson, underscoring how professionalism and composure are just as important as physical ability. Even Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe weighed in, voicing his disappointment. Sharpe pointed out how costly the mistake was, especially for a rookie trying to secure a roster spot. He reminded Shiloh, and anyone else listening, that punching a player in the helmet doesn't make sense. You hit him in the head, and what happens? You break your hand, Sharpe said, cutting straight to the reality. His larger point was clear: frustration can't outweigh discipline. In the NFL, careers are fragile. A moment of poor judgment can undo years of hard work. Still, while critics piled on, Shiloh himself didn't hide. He owned up to the mistake, admitting he needed to grow and improve. He expressed gratitude for his time with the Buccaneers, saying he was thankful for the chance to learn from their coaches and to share the locker room with great players. For him, the experience wasn't a wasted opportunity, but part of the journey. That attitude, acknowledging failure while still standing tall, resonated with people who believe everyone deserves a second chance. Now the big question is whether the 49ers are ready to give him that chance. On one hand, they are a team with championship aspirations. Every roster spot is valuable, and they don't have room to carry someone who isn't ready. Critics argue Shilo hasn't shown the kind of athleticism needed to thrive in such an elite system. On the other hand, his workout with the team suggests they see at least some potential worth exploring. It could be that the 49ers believe his past mistake doesn't define him, and that he deserves a shot at redemption. There's also the undeniable influence of Deion Sanders. As a Hall of Famer and a larger-than-life figure in football, Deion's legacy carries weight in the NFL. Reports suggest that his presence and connections may have played a role in why San Francisco is looking at Shiloh. For some critics, that raises questions about fairness. Is Shiloh being considered because of his last name, or because he truly earned the opportunity? For others, the answer doesn't matter. The league has always been about connections as much as talent, and if Shiloh can step up and deliver, then he belongs. For Shiloh himself, this moment could be the turning point. If he signs with the 49ers, it's not just another contract, it's redemption. It would show he learned from his mistake, matured, and fought his way back. It would put him right back in the spotlight and silence those who doubted his ability to rebound. But if things don't work out, then maybe Deion was right all along. Maybe football isn't the only path, and Shiloh's future lies in music, modeling, or another passion. Either way, this opportunity could define him one way or another. This story isn't just about football. It's about second chances, family pride, and resilience. Shiloh Sanders has already shown he has the humility to admit mistakes and the drive to push forward. Now the question is whether the NFL is willing to let him prove himself again. For fans, the situation is split. Some believe the 49ers should take the risk, arguing that his potential outweighs his past. Others think he's too much of a gamble, especially for a team with championship ambitions. One thing is certain. This saga isn't just about one player trying to get back on the field. It's about legacy, pressure, and the constant battle to rise above mistakes. Whether Shiloh Sanders succeeds with the 49ers or takes his talents elsewhere, the world is watching closely. And maybe, just maybe, this is the second chance that changes everything.